Hello everyone, I am Dr. Pratibha Chauhan from Sri Shivaji Law College, Parbhani. This is the last video on classification of administrative action. Two videos have been already uploaded on my YouTube channel. Today, the state is welfare and social state. The main task and burden fall on executive to implement the government policy effectively, for which they frequently encroach with the sphere of legislature and judiciary. Parliament empowers the executive to legislate on certain matter, and that is called as delegated legislation. Very often, executives are also empowered with judicial power to adjudicate on certain matters. Therefore, the executive possesses the qualities of administration, judiciary, and legislation. According to the work done by executive and according to its nature, such a work may be classified whether it is executive, judicial, or legislative. That is called as classification of administrative action. Whenever the fundamental right or the principle of natural justice are violated by administrative authority, there are appropriate constitutional and legal remedies available under Article 226 and 32. Now we will see certain example of administrative function. What functions are functioned by the executives? They are: if an order of preventive detention is given, an order of acquisition and requisition of property, an order of setting up a commission of inquiry, an order making or refusing to make a references under the Industrial Dispute Act 1947, an order granting sanction to prosecute the public servant, an order granting or refusing to grant permission of sale in favor of non-agriculturist under Tenancy Act, an order of externment under the Bombay Policy Act 1951, power to issue license, then entering the name in policy register, withdrawal from the prosecutions. These are certain functioning of administrative authority. Now, what is the difference between administrative function and quasi-judicial function? Both these functions are functioned by the administrative authority. So, how it will affect on the general society? The administrative function is a function. That function may affect positively upon any person. But when the same authority act in a quasi-judicial position, so there is a chance it may adversely affect on the person. Next, granting of license to any cinema theater is administrative function. But if the same license is cancelled or suspended, so that is quasi-judicial functioning. Granting of mining lease is administrative function. Cancellation, revocation, suspension of mining lease, and it may be without giving any notice. It is a quasi-judicial functioning. Here the administrative order does not require to give reason, but a quasi-judicial functioning is that whenever they take the decision, they have to give a reasonable reason. Giving admission to any institution is an administrative function. Dismissal from institution is a quasi-judicial function. It decides the matter subjectively, but it decides the matter objectively. An ordinary administrative function does not require such a duty to act judicially, but an administrative officer must have the duty to act judicially, then only it becomes quasi-judicial function. Last one is administrative action ordinarily cannot be challenged before the court, but a quasi-judicial decision can be challenged before the court with the help of writ, that is prohibition, mandamus and habeas corpus. Now what do you mean by legislative function? Legislative function is the making of new law and the modification, amendment or repeal of existing law is called the legislative function. In India, this power is with the parliament and the state legislature. They can enact the laws subject to the limitation imposed by the Constitution of India. There is generality about the application of legislation. Now, what is the difference between administrative function and legislative function? The executive has only delegated legislative power, but Parliament has the supreme legislative power. Legislative power of the executive is flexible, but the legislative power of Parliament is rigid. Administrative function is a present day need. Legislative function is, it looks to the future. Legislation made by the executive are subordinate, but the legislation made by Parliament and state legislature are always superior than the administrative legislation. Administrative power can easily be delegated and also subdelegated, but in rarest case, only subdelegation of legislative power can be made by the Parliament. If the legislation made by administrator is against the fundamental right and against the principle of natural justice, such legislation can be quashed by the court with the help of writ certiorari. But a legislation made by the Parliament cannot be interfered by the court. Next, administration has to give reason for their decision to the party concerned and mainly to their higher officer. But the legislator need not to give the reason. However, in every act, the object and reasons are explained in it. All administrative action need not be published, but all legislation which is made by the Parliament are necessarily published. Next, generally, if an exemption or favor is made in favor of an individual, it is administrative in nature. But generally, of an exemption or favor of a class of people or entire area is a legislative function in its nature. Now, what is judicial function? So, this has been defined under the Webster Dictionary. A judicial act is an act involving the exercise of judicial power, especially one that determines controversies or questions of right and obligation. That is called as the judicial functioning. As we know that judicial act only when it is exercised by the ordinary court. When the same act is exercised by an administrative tribunal, it will be called as quasi-judicial. Now, this judiciary, after deciding the matter, they give the judgment. And then what is its scope? What does the judgment means? It means the decision or the sentence of a court in a legal proceeding. Its scope is when the minister's administrative tribunal, board executive authority, etc., function as a judiciary under certain circumstances. So they are called the quasi-judicial functioning. Now, what are the essential characteristics of judicial function? There must be two party, that is less inter-party. Second one is there must be a dispute pertaining to the question of fact or question of law, or it may be both. Rule of procedure is followed, that is Indian Evidence Act, CPC, CRPC, law of limitation, etc. are strictly followed in the court. Next one is the party shall submit their evidence and arguments before the court. The court perform their judicial function within their territorial or other specified jurisdiction. Advocates are permitted in judicial proceeding. Evidence is taken on oath, and in certain circumstances such as minister, administrative tribunal, board, executive authority, etc., shall have to perform the judicial function. But in such a circumstances, they are not fully clothed with the judicial authority, but are clothed with the quasi-judicial authority, and in that cases, such a quasi-judicial authority should perform their function, but it is not compellable over the quasi-judicial authority to follow the procedure law, that is CPC or Evidence Act. Now, what is the difference between judicial and quasi-judicial functioning? In judicial, as inter-party, it means the dispute between two parties is essential characteristics. But in quasi-judicial, a less inter-party is not essential. The evidence shall be taken on oath. The evidence is not taken on oath. The rule of evidence, CPC, CRPC, etc. are strictly followed. But in quasi-judicial, they are not strictly followed. The court fee as per the rule is required to be paid. So here it is not required. In judicial, the doctrine of precedent or the stare decisis, etc. shall strictly be followed. But in quasi-judicial, these doctrines are not strictly followed. No man a judge in his own case. This principle of natural law is strictly followed in judicial functioning, but sometime it may be relaxed in a quasi-judicial. The court is the real forum of judicial proceeding, and in quasi-judicial it is only a trapping of court, but in reality it is not a court. Now, what do you mean by the legislative function and judicial function? That we had already seen, but now we will see a distinguish between legislative and judicial function. Legislation is a new source of law. At the same time, it has a unique feature that it can abolish any law or laws which are outdated. This abrogative power is most advantageous than the other sources of law. But in judicial functioning, this is also a source of law, but comes next to the legislation. The precedent which are the result of judicial function have only constitutive efficiency. Its operation is irreversible and it cannot go back upon its footsteps. Next one is lawmaking is the legislative function and interpretation is the judicial function. The parliament or state legislative assembly makes the law. In the judicial, the Supreme Court and its subordinate court, they interpret such laws. Laws are the result of legislative functioning and are applicable to all. But judgment is the result of judicial function and is applicable only to the party concerned. In majority cases, precedent may be used in future case. Delegation, subdelegation are found only in legislative function. But a judgment law or precedent is the creation of judicial function. Anticipation is the advantage of legislation. It foresees the consequences of certain wrongs. But the anticipation is quite inconsistent with a judicial function. It always looks back the thing happened in the past. Legislation is made for the future and judiciary inquiries past and present. It creates a new rights and liability, but in judiciary it determines the existing right and liabilities. It cannot create a new rights. Legislative function is complete, certain and systematic, but judicial function differs from case to case. It goes into minute things, whereas legislative function goes into general way. Now we will see the fact of the case about the delegated legislation and subdelegated legislation. The Blackpool Corporation versus Locker, 1948. There was an act, the Defence Regulation Act 1939, and this act is known as the Parent Act. Section 51 of this Parent Act delegated certain legislative powers to the Minister of Health. For what purpose? To acquire the vacant houses for the accommodating the army during the Second World War. But the Minister of Health subdelegated this power to Blackpool Corporation through the circular. The corporation requested Mr. Locker to hand over his house with the furniture. But in previous, only the vacant house was mentioned, not a furniture. But in second circular, they mentioned that to hand over the house with the furniture. But Mr. Locker did not compile. So the corporation filed a suit against the Locker. The question of law raised by the Locker was that the subdelegation and delegation both were ultra vires and the act of Blackpool Corporation was void. The judgment was given that the Court of Appeal held that the delegated legislation was proper, but the order of the corporation was legislative in nature, Act of 1939. It empowers only for acquisition of house only, whereas the order of corporation was to acquire house with the furniture. Therefore, the order of corporation was ultra vires and was void. So here it means that the delegated legislation was valid, but whatever the order was given by the corporation, so it was ultra vires and void, and so it was set aside. So this way we had completed this third video on classification of administrative action.